Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The board wants to provide ample opportunity for public comment on matters that come before us. Your input is important. If you wish to address an item already on the agenda, we ask that you do so when that item comes up for discussion. If you have a comment on a matter not on the agenda, this is the time during our meeting for such comments. The board would like to remind everyone in attendance that to avoid violations of individual rights of privacy, a member of the public wishing to address the board during this time will not be allowed to make comments about any student, staff member, or member of the general public. Does anyone wish to speak at this time? Okay. Do we have any other correspondence?
Not other than the letters of interest.
Yep. We received 2 letters of interest for the vacancy for the board trustee, Hannah Rouser and Daniel Truesdale. We will get to that interview process here in a few moments and then on to selecting one of the individuals to fill that seat. Moving into the discussion items at the beginning, elementary building project. We've gone to meeting every other week with the owner, architect, and construction or contractor. So this week did not happen to be our week to meet. So we don't have any of those individuals with us today, but I can give a few updates. The big mega tower playground piece of equipment is set to be installed or begin installation on June 26th. The 2 additional classrooms, I think flooring is what we're waiting for there and installation of that. Most of the FFE furniture items have arrived with the exceptions of the lockers. The lockers are expected to ship around June 27th, and hopefully the crew will be here around July 10th for the install on those. On the high school roof project, the solar company is in the process of disassembling those units and waiting on the crane that both they and the roofing company will share. And I believe it's set to show up on Thursday, and they'll start taking those solar panels down and they'll start lifting roof materials up onto the roof. They have begun to deliver those items, still more to come. The middle school roof library project that is wrapping up. They're still working on a few little items, and the architects are waiting for the documentation from the contractor. And then they will come in and do the punch list, which will hopefully sign off on that project once all those items, if they identify some, will be done. Yes, we're getting very near the end of this. I think most people will be glad to see that. Any questions on that?
Is the tower going in that little unfinished area?
And also the Gaga pit goes across from that.
In the same,
It goes across the sidewalk in the corner over there.
Okay.
But it's in the same.
And there'll be a Gaga pit that goes out somewhere in the back for the middle school kids, but we're
Okay.
gonna wait until they get that roof project done, because I think that's right where they're gonna set that crane up.
okay,
They needed access to that space, so that probably won't see that till after the roof project, which could be late fall, depending on how that goes. But that will go up there at some point. Okay. Committee reports.
Okay, so we are going to wait on our facilities. We moved our facilities meeting till until we have our full board and everyone is available to join us at that, as well as Mr. Riddle. I will say Chairman Noyes and I did walk through the newly vacated rental on the corner here today. It's in pretty good shape. We just need to get some new flooring in there and some paint, but it's looking pretty good. So I did advertise onto our current vacancies that we do have District teacher housing available, because that will be ready to go here soon. But we will have a complete facilities walkthrough so that we can make a priority list on maintenance for the district-wide as well as the rentals. So we need to schedule that meeting. We also need to schedule an activities committee meeting because there is interest in discussing high school baseball as well as girls wrestling, high school girls wrestling. So we need to schedule an activities committee date. So I'll be reaching out to the board once we have those committee assignments finalized tonight so that we can schedule the facilities committee and the activities committee meetings. We have a transportation committee meeting tentatively set for the 27th, which we do in partnership with Melissa Franks, and she has that saved on her calendar as well, as far as I know. So we're shooting for the transportation meeting on the 27th, so that we can solidify routes, school routes, and mileage for next school year.
What time is that one?
That one's at 6 o'clock on the 27th. Oh, 5 o'clock. My handwriting is poor here. I believe it's 5. 5 o'clock here in the community room on the 27th for the transportation meeting.
So the activities one we do, well, we'll wait to finish that. Yeah, okay. We still got to fill that alternate.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the adult education report.
So the adult education report is included in your packet, and Terry Arts did a fabulous job this year of revitalizing our adult education program. We had great attendance at the classes. It was fun to see the community classroom packed with folks, as well as seeing them going around and looking at the trees and doing all of the different activities that were offered. There were some excellent classes and great turnout. So she did resign. She did a great job for us this year and has moved on to other things. But she did a fabulous job, and just wanted to give you guys an update on how the spring adult ed finished up.
Questions on that one? Okay. The next one on there, we have the audit review labeled for the new trustees. I guess before this month starts into that one, there's a couple things I want to note. You know, there was at last month's board meeting with new trustees, there were some questions that came up regarding the audit. But of course, if an item is not on the agenda, you know, we're not allowed to talk about it because everybody needs to have notice of all the things that we're going to talk about. The audit was presented and approved by the board back in the April board meeting. And we had a significant discussion on the audit at that time. We approved it. But because of the questions that came up, then there was some articles in the paper, and then a lot of the information I felt was unclear, and some of it even inconsistent with the actual discussion. So I was asked to add it back to this agenda again so that we can clarify any of those questions that have come up with either of, you know, the new trustees or anybody from the public that felt there was something that didn't get discussed. So that is where we will head. You know, it is simply about the audit that was done. I don't want it to drift into budget discussions or, you know, even personnel discussions for, you know, the people that worked on those, you know, past positions that, you know, came up in the audit.
Thank you. So I will just give a high-level highlight. We provided the full audit to the newspapers and made sure that the public knew there were copies available for anyone to review or request at the district office. And so I will just briefly touch on a few things. So the audit opinion was an unmodified opinion, which is the best you can get. The top of the chart out of all of the opinions that you can accrue during an audit. So let's see, there's 5 7 different audit opinions you can get, and unmodified is the top with the smiley face. So we got a good audit outcome. We did have some findings. That is not unusual. The goal of an audit is the auditors are trying to find things that we can do better or improve on. It's not unusual to have audit findings. We did have some that we've definitely gone to work on. We had a very comprehensive corrective action plan that was included in the packet and was submitted to the auditors. And we have reestablished all the processes that we needed to have in place. We have a great reestablished all of our timelines with the county and reestablished a great working relationship to make sure that we are exchanging information back and forth in a timely manner to make sure that we can balance with the county, between the county and the school district. And so all of those things have been put in place, and we are currently balanced with the county, and we are in good standing, and we have put additional procedures in place. There is additional information in the board packet to be more transparent to the public and to the board members. For example, you will see under district reports, there are the county balances as well as the district balances to show you that they align. There's also current budget information on each one of our budget lines and funds. And we're including more financial information in the packet and to the public to be more transparent about that. Another example of a corrective action that we put in place is I, as the superintendent, will sign off on any journal vouchers. So JVs, which are corrections made to the account books. And then those JVs need to be sent to the county so that the county's books balance with our books. So I will sign off on any JVs that occur, and we hope to have minimal JVs as we go forward. If we do have JVs, I will sign off, and we will also present them to the board from now on, which we were not doing previously. So any JVs will be signed off by me and also presented to the board as we go forward. So those are some of the examples of what we've done to ensure transparency, ensure that we are balancing with the county, and moving forward in a positive direction. That sums it up for me.
Mr. Chair, how often are these audits conducted, and then when will be like a check-in per se for a follow-up on how we are doing with the new policies we've implemented?
So we are going to have annual audits. So our next audit is scheduled. Do you know when our auditors?
Usually they reach out around September, and then we start collecting information, and they reach out to us in September and give us a timeline on what their schedule looks like. But because of COVID and other scheduling conflicts, we got pushed back to biannual or a 2-year schedule. And so it's a little messy right now, but they will reach out to us the first part of the school year, and we will agree to their new timeline schedule.
By law, we can either do an annual audit or at the most a 2-year audit. We have typically always done it.
Yeah.
We'd like to
Last
get
year
back
was-
on track today.
Last year was the anomaly.
Yeah, wasn't typical.
And in the meantime, like I said, we are responsible, and you guys as well as holding us accountable and doing those check-ins. We're gonna be checking in monthly in the board packet with you on the county balancing with our balance, and by sharing more financial information with you. So we have a timeline in place with the county, and we're working really well with the county now to maintain that relationship and stay on target so we can all meet our goals.
Chase, did you have questions?
I have one question on the budget overdraft. How are we looking to finish out this fiscal year at the school as far as the overdraft? Are we going to be overdrawn? Are we going to be in line with the budget over?
No, we are on target for our end of the year budget. It wasn't a matter of not having the funds for the overdraft. It was a matter of funds being charged or being paid for out of the wrong month. And so we, have staff in the office trained that have that understanding and know that we have to spend this year's money and pay for any bills from this year by the end of this fiscal year. So that will not happen again.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. We're on target for our end of the year budget. We will be right on target. We have one more payroll cycle to go through, and we have a stack of requisitions that we have labeled as wish list. They are things that we need, not things that are just grandiose, but things that we need, but we could live without, for example. So we have put them on the back burner, and any end of the year dollars we have left, we will use those requisitions to make sure we spend the exact amount. So we will end right on the dot.
Susie, I assume that you have like a priority list of like unfunded requirements. So if we have extra money, you go down the priority list of things that we want to purchase. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, so we have those requisitions prepared and prioritized in a stack in the office. And we're holding off, and we've made sure that they aren't things that we needed urgently. We've talked to anyone that has a requisition in that pile, and they understand that the goal is to purchase those items with end of the year funds. And then once we hit that line of the exact amount with our general fund, then we will move into determining if they are a necessary item. We'll purchase them with next year's funds when we move into the new fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to add, Mr. Ravendall's not here, but that the article that was in, the Broadwater County News following the last board meeting, indicated that there was $47,000 missing. And I don't know, where he got that number, from what part of the discussion in that meeting that came from, but there was no money missing. So that statement in that paper was incorrect on that. And that part of the reason why I wanted to do this tonight was to clear that up for the public.
And I did address that with him, and he did agree to communicate with me on further articles. So hopefully we can have a better relationship and make sure that those misunderstandings don't happen in the future.
Any other questions? Does anybody in the public have any questions in regards to that audit? Okay, thank you very much. Board candidate interviews. So if our two candidates would go ahead and take a seat up front, we would appreciate that. So as we discussed at the last board meeting, we made a declaration following Dr. Scott's resignation, which created a vacancy on the board. Went to the policy and followed that. We had to make the declaration that there was a vacancy. We opened it up for almost 2 weeks. We received 2 letters of interest. Also in the policy, it says we can interview the candidates for that position. So we have prepared 4 questions. We will ask each of them all 4 questions. I will alternate so they get a chance to go first. Every other question. And then it's up to the board to make a motion to appoint one of the candidates. Okay. All right. Thank you both for coming. Thank you both for your interest in the position. Hannah, I will start with you. Describe your interest in becoming a trustee.
So I am of the younger generation of recent graduates. And I feel like my generation of parents needs a little bit of representation. And I briefly worked with the school and I really miss it. So I wanted to be able to support the staff and the kids again. I really miss the kids. So I wanted to make sure that I could be involved with my children when they're in school and hopefully help the staff in any way that I can and the administration in any way that I can.
My interest in becoming a trustee to begin with is obviously there's always rumors, and I'd like to have a better understanding of what actually goes on to help clarify that. Go to the source instead of just hearing what you hear. The other areas which really have pushed me to want to become a trustee is one, going, in a small community, you oftentimes run into teachers, obviously, and with kids in school, there seems to be a disconnect with the teachers. At least that's how they're feeling. It really feels like they're at a low, and I want to see what we can do as a team to kind of help make that work better. And I can understand that coming from administration, seeing that as well, a frustration there. So I think helping support that. And then the other area I really like to kind of encouraged me here too is, unfortunately, most of the sporting type events and gatherings that I've gone to over the last year, the parents talk and the conversations haven't been positive. There's a lot of concerns where, the kids with safety at the school, but not from the outside, but from peers. And a lot of parents are really feeling concerned with that as well. And so I felt like I could come and help make a difference there too. So that would be certainly my 3 main interests in joining the board.
Daniel, you'll answer first. Describe your understanding of the role of a school board trustee.
Okay. It's my understanding that the school board is to help support the staff and the administration in enforcing their policies. Obviously, one big one also coming in here recently is to help negotiate with the teachers and other staff in creating agreements, assist in prioritizing the needs of the school and where the vision needs to be moving forward. And then with following up with the audits and other steps that are taken, it's part of the board's responsibility as well to look into any kind of actions that maybe are not as common in ensuring the legality of it, and to make sure that there's no violations there to keep the school board or the school itself and the district itself on the up and up from there.
So my understanding of the role is providing accountability with the teachers, the staff, and administration, keeping everybody we keep each other in check. Also, providing support to our staff and our administration. Providing community I was kind of a little prepared for this one. So providing community leadership as advocates for the children, and just being a very good example in the community while also being a representative, and establishing an effective and efficient structure. So I think that by keeping everything like he said, legal and above board, making sure that we are within the realms of our policy and the MCA, and making sure that we are doing everything that we can. We all might have these great ideas, but making sure that we can do things while not letting the wheels fall off the cart, making sure that we're keeping our staff happy. That way they can provide a happy and just have the energy because they're supported to teach our children.
Anna, tell us about your understanding and availability to the time commitment required of the trustee position.
From my understanding of our meeting rules and everything, I'm available. I have the support of my husband with that, so that's very helpful as far as time constraints. And this is something that's very important to me. So if I need to move things around, I can. I really just want to be a good team player. And sometimes that means putting your like little weekend project on the back burner and just doing what you're supposed to do.
My understanding is outside the typical one meeting a month, that each meeting can present a various amount of prep time. You could be looking at just a couple of hours to possibly looking into a whole weekend worth of following up, understanding what's coming up, and maybe needing to do your own research to be able to come in to have a better educated decision. As it comes to availability, obviously second Tuesday of every month would be cleared. But outside of that, there's also the various committees that need to take place. And I understand that, and there need to be provide some availability there. And throughout the year, depending on the committee, it could be several more than other times of the year. And availability wise, on emergency type situations, I do have some flexibility in my schedule that I'd be able to move things around, whether it be during the evenings or work days. So.
Last question, Daniel. What is your vision for Townsend School District in the next 5 to 10 years?
My vision would be it kind of goes back to the interest. My vision would be to help create a more cohesive team. I've seen through my work that through the chain of commands, when there's some concern, it makes it hard to work together. And I think something I could help do is help make there to be a better connection between all the staff. And maybe in a lot of places it's very good, but I think there's always definitely room for improvement. That's one area I'd like to definitely see in the next 5 to 10 years, an improvement there. The other improvement I'd like to see is I want to be able to go to some kids' activities and not talk to parents about the negativity of it, but start to see the positivity of what we're getting out of our schools. I'd like to have the kids not have to come home and tell their parents about how they don't want to go to the school the next day because they're fearful of their classmates. And I don't mean to make this personal, but I've seen it and personally through friends of mine and myself. So I know it's real, and I know it's a goal that we could make a change. And I think that's ultimately the goal of the school is we want to have a good education system for our kids. We want the team to be able to be supportive throughout the school, and we want the kids to be able to feel safe there, whether it's internally or externally. So that would be my vision for the future.
I think my vision would be, I think that this district is a little overlooked sometimes. I think we have great people. I've personally had a great experience with this school district, even Mr. Rock. And I think my unique view of seeing things from the legal aspect of things, that these teachers really do care about these kids. And I might not have thought it when I was in high school, but working with them really gave me a greater sense of compassion. And I think to have somebody, especially my age, and a lot of my friends are bringing their kids into school, and they might hear these things, but I think that we actually have the potential to be something that our kids do look forward to. And I think that I would like to be somebody that shows people how awesome our teachers really are, what a great staff we have, because it was amazing working with them. And I see from my perspective, so I work with the county attorney, and I get to see some of the things that these teachers really do for their kids. And I think bringing awareness to the public by all having a united team and being able to support those teachers, because their job isn't easy, and being their advocate and helping them when they need something, to know that they can go to the board and feel like they're actually being heard. And I just think that's really important. And I think that the only thing we can do is build trust with our teachers. And I think that will help keep teachers long-term, especially some of these younger teachers starting their teaching careers. And I think that that's just really important.
Okay, thank you. Well, now you get to sweat for a few minutes because we got a couple things between that before we do the action items. So you're welcome to take your seat.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on to the consent action items, minutes and warrants.
I'll move to approve the minutes and warrants as presented.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes and warrants as presented. Is there any discussion?